Rob Dauster here. I got Jeff Goodman with me.
Hell no.
John Henson.
Are we still live?
Field of 68 till I die.
I'm sorry, man. I blacked out.
Randolph Children.
DJ Khaled, you not a big DJ Khaled guy?
Hands thrown up and in.
Goodman needs to be fired all the time.
Josh Tasker.
You're going to beat people straight up.
You know the deal.
They have no swag. They have no nothing.
Terrell McNeil.
From the bluest of the blue bloods to the smallest of the mid-majors.
This is Field of 68 After Dark.
It is the Field of 68 After Dark on this Wednesday evening, February 28th, the eve of the ever-so-rare February 29th. Leap Day is just an hour away. I'm John Fanta. Rob Dauster is here. John Henson with the vintage Tampa Bay Rays cap tonight is here. He's in the house and ready to go. He says he's got takes tonight, America. We had a very busy night in college basketball. We had a classic in the SEC that we're going to start with. But Henson, since you've got so many takes tonight, we're not going to keep the people waiting. I want you to give me the biggest thing on your mind right now in college basketball, things you've watched tonight, of anything on your mind. Give us John Henson's big take to start.
I'm going to give you my personal take right now. I got a live bet, 3.5 on Virginia. That's my biggest take of the night. I need them to finish this thing out. And then secondly, I'm going to go with just desperation, man. Just the desperation that teams are playing for. It's making this thing fun. You know, you got the Ole Miss game. Like, Ole Miss came out with, fire and kind of got lulled into this offensive game with Alabama. Now Alabama's on top. Earlier today, the Auburn-Tennessee game, you thought Auburn had it. Tennessee fights back. Dalton Knecht looks like a pro out there. No one can guard him. Marquette spanks Providence. Iowa State spanks. So it's getting fun now, man, and I'm excited.
Yeah, we'll have Brad Wachtel coming up, our bracketologist, among a couple of bracketologists that do Fielding the 68 every single Monday and Friday. Updates, plenty to come with that, with several bubble teams in action. I think that's it, Rob. Before we get to the Tennessee-Auburn Classic, to me, we're watching all these teams play, and many of the bubble teams in the last 24 hours have lost. And it's just the latest indicator to me. I know that it feels inevitable with tournament expansion, Rob Dauster, but we cover this sport every day. And if you expand it, and when that expansion happens, it's just going to further dilute things because, honestly, Rob, it feels like it's hard on some nights to find the right 68, if not every night.
Yeah, I mean, look at the way that the field is set up right now in our most recent Fielding the 68 bracket. New Mexico, Wake Forest, and Providence are 3 of the 4 teams in the playing games right now, right? New Mexico just lost at home to Air Force. Wake Forest just lost at Notre Dame. And Providence just lost by 25 at Marquette. So who are the teams that have a chance to jump them? Well, Utah just got smacked by Colorado. Butler just got like 30-pieced at home by St. John's. Texas A&M just lost at home to South Carolina. It's not like there are all of these teams that are playing their way in, right? We don't need to see all of these extra high major programs getting into the NCAA tournament. If you're going to expand it, and I understand that it's inevitable, if it's going to happen, let's let some of these these mid-major and low major teams that win their league, that dominate their league, and then that can't find a way to get hot for 4 days in March in their conference tournament, let them have a crack at it too. Okay, we can get the 11th team in the Big 12, and the Big East can get 6 and 7. We can let SEC get 8 and 9 in, right? You can let those other teams kind of get a little bit more of the pie. Make sure some of these mid-majors get access to it as well, because at the end of the day, if you go back and look at the games that have had the highest ratings in the NCAA tournament in recent years, it is Fairleigh Dickinson getting to the second round of the NCAA tournament. It is St. Peter's playing on the second weekend of the NCAA tournament. It is Oral Roberts getting to the second weekend of the NCAA tournament. Those are the games that are fun. Those are the games that people want to see. Hey, you got a chance to get to the Final Four, and you got little old St. Peter's going up against a blue blood like North Carolina. Everybody's going to tune into that. That's what people want to see. They want to see these Cinderellas. Let more of them have a chance to be able to get this done. You could still get more seats at the table if you want with some of these high majors, but also just don't expand the tournament. The field's the perfect size. We don't need to go any bigger. It doesn't need to. Bigger is not always better.
I couldn't agree with you more. I in the NCAA tournament, And I got to tell you, like, it's a joke. I mean, Texas A&M's got to be one of the biggest disappointments in college basketball. They were projected to be a top 15 team. Tonight they lose at home to South Carolina. A&M now, after that loss, falls to 15-12 on the year. I mean, that 15-13 on the year. That's disappointing. Wake Forest, you just washed away everything you gained against Duke. You washed it all away by going to Notre Dame and doing that. We'll get to bubble talk as the show deepens. Our top storyline tonight, the top game tonight, a top 11 showdown in Knoxville. Tennessee 92, Auburn 84. Dalton Knecht, you are not human. 39 points, 12 of 21 from the floor. He was dynamite. Rob Dauster, when you see this result between two of the top 5 Ken Pond defenses in America, 92-84 is your final score. What's it tell you about Tennessee?
Look, it's not anything that we haven't learned before, right? But there was one point in the second half. There was 12 minutes and 17 seconds left in the second half. Katie Johnson just made 2 free throws. The score was 63-55. Auburn looked like they had taken control of this game in the second half, right? Tennessee was up most of the first half. Auburn goes on this run. They get up by 8, and it feels like they're about to run away with this thing, and they're about to steal a win on Tennessee's home court. And you know what happened? Dalton Knecht showed up. He scored 25 points in the last 12 minutes of this game, 25 of his 39. He literally put this team on his back. In the final 12 minutes of the game, he had 25. Auburn had 21. And to me, that is the difference between Tennessee this year and Tennessee every other year that we've seen them play. They've never had this before. Rick Barnes hasn't had a dude this good in college since Kevin Durant, quite literally, right? He hasn't had a guy that could take over a game like this since Kevin Durant. I don't even think that's a hot take, and I understand I am putting Dalton Knecht and Kevin Durant in the same sentence. But if you look at what he's doing this year, they don't run anything down the stretch. They quite literally put the ball in his hands and say, cook. Or they run him off a pin down and they say, go ahead and make a shot. Hit one of those midi pull-ups because nobody can challenge you. And Henson, the craziest thing about this, man, is if you go back and you watch what he did in the second half, this dude's not even taking good shots. He's taking contested pull-ups from like 13 feet off the triple. Like, they're playing good defense on him. You just can't stop them. And that's why Tennessee is dangerous, because they have this defense that when they want to can really lock down. And then you got this dude who, like this, can go from having an okay game to putting up 39 on you. 25 points in 12 minutes. Who does that?
Yeah. I was watching it in awe, right? It's been a while, man. Think about college basketball where a guy can put a team on his back offensively. Like, I'm just trying to like go back over time. I mean, he's doing stuff, I don't want to like get too crazy into the names, but like, the Michael Beasley's, the Kevin Durant's were like, he offensively just overwhelmed. I mean, I know Rick Barnes' offense isn't give Dalton Knecht the ball and watch him go. Like, and that's what they were doing at one point. And it was a sight to see. It was a beautiful thing to see. It was like watching an NBA game, some of the moves, the packages that he has. And it just showed championship mettle. It showed that Tennessee might be ready to turn that corner and get to the Final Four and be there on that last weekend with a shot. They looked good, and they were down. They were down looking like it was about to, like Rob said, looked like it was about to be Auburn all the way, and they come back. He takes over. He has almost 40 points, an efficient 12 for 21, 5 for 8 from 3, and they weren't easy shots. And was in foul trouble the first half. So it just showed me that Tennessee has something that needs to be looked at. And also, I think if Tennessee gets to win these next 2 games, I think they got to win one of these next 2 games, I believe, and then they lock up the championship. So they got to beat Alabama, South Carolina, or Tennessee, and I think they lock up at least a tie. So this was a big win for them at home, because it's not about to be easy. 2-3 top 25 teams coming up. That's going to be tough.
Yeah, they're tied with Alabama, so they got to beat Alabama and get one more, and that'll get them at least a share of the title. John, the thing that the other thing that's crazy about this is typically when we watch the best players in college basketball, we're watching guys that are 19 or 20, right? That we know one day are going to be phenomenal when they play in the NBA, but are not quite there yet because they're quite literally still teenagers. Dalton Knecht's 23, Right now, Henson, correct me if I'm wrong here. He can go play in an NBA game and get you 20 in an NBA game. Like he is a pro right now.
He's a pro.
Playing in college. He is an NBA player. He's a guy that can go out and play in an NBA game in an NBA rotation, give you 20 minutes, probably get you 15 points right now at this point in time. And he's doing it in college because he had such a crazy path. For the people that don't know, when he was a 6 foot like point guard when he was a junior in high school. He had his growth spurt then, but when he went to college, no one really wanted him. So he ended up at some JUCO in Colorado because he was trying to stay close to home. Then when he graduated from the JUCO, his second year, he had the choice. I think it was between Drake and Northern Colorado, and those were the only 2 programs he wanted. So that were really on him. So he went to Northern Colorado, closer to home, and he averaged 9 points as a junior in college. Like it's not like this dude has been a stud at the mid. It's not like Max Asmus, right? And then he goes out as a senior. He averages 20. Everyone's like, well, okay, he can score, but he can't really guard. And can he do it at the high major level? So he goes to Tennessee, and he's even better now than he was when he was averaging 20 for Northern Colorado. Like his trajectory, his growth, his development, it's a testament to him. It's a testament to identifying guys that are late bloomers. And it's been a lot of fun to see him kind of grow and develop and become the player that he is today. Because like I said, Fanta, he is an NBA player right now playing in the SEC.
Right now. Listen, man, also that JUCO route, that's what got that dog in him. Like, listen, I'm going to keep it like coming up, some of the best players that never got to play on the level of college, whether grades, they got in trouble, they were just overall knuckleheads when they had to go JUCO route, kind of get their image right, get their grades right. I swear to you, kids at the JUCO level are just as good as the D1 level. They just haven't got a chance or something went wrong. And so don't get it twisted. Dalton Knecht was down there in JUCO grinding, and that might have got him into that mode because there's I would say junior college has the best athletes out of all the college sports. They just don't pan out for whatever reason. So his trajectory, I mean, yeah, I was in awe today. I was marinating my chicken. I did some barbecue baked chicken today. I had to like stop and just like watch, like, because every time I looked up, he's like dagger after dagger, right? Like just, so I enjoyed that today, man. That was a fun game to watch. One of the more fun games to see, this season.
It was Knoxville whiskey.
What are we marinating the chicken in? Is it what are we marinating?
I got a smoked paprika, salt and pepper, garlic powder, onion powder. Put it in the oven 25 minutes. Then I base it with barbecue sauce. Had some rice. You know what I'm saying? When I'm watching the games, I like to cook a little bit.
Are we talking chicken breasts, chicken thighs? What are we doing here?
Chicken thigh. I'm a chicken thigh guy.
Yeah.
I like the chicken thighs.
The most underrated cut of meat that you're gonna find at the butcher shop.
Oh,
and
my
it's
God.
cheap too. Chicken thighs.
I wish you were here, man. I got extras. For you guys, but
hey, I'm coming, man. Let's go.
We're coming over. Here's the thing. Rick Barnes will be 70 this July. He's a 6-time conference coach of the year. He is a national coach of the year. He went to a Final Four all the way back in 2003. It's been a while. He has had very successful teams in Knoxville. He's never had a team like this one. And if Rick Barnes is going to climb the ladder in Arizona, climb a ladder to cut down a national championship net, there is not going to be a better case, a better opportunity for him to do that than with this team right here, right now. Tennessee continues to show that they're in Tier A. Tier A in my mind, if I put together 4 or 5 national championship contenders. And that is because they've got the backcourt with Ziegler and Vescovi. They've got the defense. Defense has never been the issue for Tennessee basketball. But great offense beats great defense 9 times out of 10. Now Tennessee has a dude that when they need him to, he delivers in the moment every time. He has Jimmer Fredette, Doug McDermott-like bucket-getting ability. He is that good. He is a consensus. He is a consensus first-team All-American, and the Tennessee Volunteers can win it all. There's no doubt in my mind. This is Rick Barnes' best chance left in his career.
Can I ask you guys? I want to ask you guys both a question, right? So everybody in college basketball media anointed Houston and Purdue, UConn and Purdue as like the top two teams, separated themselves from everybody else in the sport. Like 2 weeks ago, and then UConn and Purdue lost, and now it's kind of been a theme. We've talked about it the last 2 nights that Houston is right; they belong in the conversation with Purdue and UConn. Now, personally, I am not quite ready to put Tennessee at the same level as those top three yet, but I think it's a lot closer than people realize, and I don't think that they get enough credit. Where do you guys stand on that?
I think they're approaching that. They're still second tier, but analytically, I don't know if the people at home know that like trapezoid of excellence I've been seeing online. Like they fit the bill of a team that can win a championship or a Final Four. With the offensive profile and defensive profile, I think a lot of teams, even Houston, watching Houston last night, love the talent, love the defense, but they sometimes go cold on offense and become stagnant, and you only got to lose one game and it's all over. And so teams like that scare me. I like Tennessee a little more because they have a lot more offensive variability and the defense is going to travel. So like tonight, perfect example. Auburn has them on their heels. What team in the top 5 has a guy like Dalton Knecht that can take over the game without, even with Edey, we got to get Edey the ball. We're going to double team. It got to the point where they were triple teaming Dalton Knecht. And we're triple teaming a kid in college. It's not going to go well for you, just defensively and talent-wise. So I like them as a real contender, just off the fact that they have this offensive juggernaut that on any given night. I mean, if he goes to the tournament and starts rolling, 30-point games off, Tennessee will be there at the end.
They're in the mix. They're in that top mix. They're not tier B for me. They are tier A. They have a combined 12 quad 1, quad 2 wins. They have no bad losses. No blemishes. They don't have a quadrant 3 loss, Tennessee. And if you look, Arizona has 2. They've got 1 quad 3 loss. North Carolina has 1 quad 3 loss. So the other teams that are in the mix for that 2 seed, the 1 seed, to overtake Arizona, we talk about Carolina, we got to be talking about Tennessee to get on the 1 line. More to come on After Dark.
As you guys know by now, we've partnered with BetMGM this season. We'll be using BetMGM lines to make all of our picks, and we'll have special offers for the listeners and the viewers of the Field of 68 as we all get ready for the best month of the year, March Madness. If you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, you can use the bonus code FIELD150 and you will get $150 in free bets on your first wager with BetMGM, regardless of whether or not you win that first bet. Here's the best part. All you need to do is deposit and bet $5 of your hard-earned money. This is how you make it work. Download the BetMGM app and sign up using the bonus code FIELD150. That's FIELD150. Deposit at least $5 and place your first wager on any game. You will receive up to $150 in bonus bets regardless of the outcome of your bet. Just make sure you use that bonus code FIELD150 when you sign up. And remember, BetMGM is now available in one wallet in select states. As a New Jersey resident, this is super convenient when I have to go cover games in Philly or New York, which happens quite a bit. When you cross state borders, you just log into your existing account and fire away. You don't have to create a new account in each state. It's easy, it's simple, and it's clean. And most importantly, we have some fun stuff coming up for the conference tournaments and for the NCAA tournament. Bet insurance tokens, college hoops odds boost, and my personal favorite, a nice little parlay boost here and there. So download the BetMGM app and sign up today.
It's the Field of 68 After Dark on SiriusXM, YouTube, and X. I'm John Fanta. Rob Dauster's here. John Henson is here. It's Wine Wednesday. Find a glass of red.
Wine Wednesday.
And it's an SEC Wednesday. Hey, also coming up on the show, there are a lot of bubble teams. If you're a Providence fan, we know that you're out there. If you are a Texas A&M fan, if you're an Ole Miss fan, if you're a Seton Hall fan, where does your team stand? Brad Wachtel's going to join us in the back half of the show about 15 minutes from now. You're not going to want to miss it. SEC, here we go. South Carolina beats Texas A&M tonight, 70-68. Lamont Paris is now 23-5 on the year. Florida After a 16-17 year last year, they clinch a 20-win season. They beat Missouri. And let's get to this here right now. 2 minutes to go. Alabama and Ole Miss. Crimson Tide are up by 10 and on the cusp of winning at Ole Miss. Ole Miss is about to drop to 19-9 on the year. For Alabama, it's a road win and a win that keeps them in line with Tennessee for the huge showdown, Rob Dauster, on Saturday night. I love the Southeastern Conference and their March potential of the results tonight. What's your headliner? What's your biggest takeaway of these other games?
For me, it's the bounce back for Alabama. They got embarrassed over the weekend at Kentucky, and to come back and dig themselves, I think, what was it, Henson, a 15-point deficit on the road, and then come roaring back and find a way to be able to beat an Ole Miss team that hasn't been great, but is good enough, and it can be tough in their own building. I think that showed a lot of mettle. I think that showed a lot of toughness, and I think it was something that you probably should expect out of a team that's in the mix to win an SEC regular season title. They are just so explosive offensively, where that it's going to come at some point, right? That there's going to be that wave where they hit 4, 5, 6 threes in the span of like 5 minutes. There's going to be some 10-minute stretch and some half where they score 30 points. And as long as you can kind of keep pace with them there, then you'll have a chance to be able to beat them, because they, like Nato said after the Kentucky game, like they just don't want to play defense, right? There are moments where they just decide, we're not guarding today. But they're so explosive offensively that they are one of the teams where I think that they can literally beat anybody when it comes to the NCAA tournament. I would not be shocked to see them beat UConn or beat Purdue or beat Houston or beat anybody in the sport this year. I would also not be shocked if they were like a 3 seed and they were the team that got picked off in the first round of the tournament because they decided to have one of the nights where the shots didn't go down and they decided they didn't want to play defense.
Yeah. I'm actually watching the game, and I mean, the explosiveness is on display. They just hit 2 threes to close the game out within 30 seconds. They didn't even have to shoot the ball. Alabama is tricky to me because they do not play defense. And I'll give this example. If me and John Fanta line up 100 times, I may win 99 times. But if I don't play defense, John can beat me. And that's how I see Alabama.
Well, thank you, John.
Game, this game, they're up by 13 or whatever, 15, and they're going to win the game. But they just don't play enough defense. And Alabama is going to run into a team that can go toe-to-toe with them and defend, and you see what happens. Alabama has a couple bad losses because they just don't defend. And Ole Miss got into – when I was playing in North Carolina, we would pray to God teams want to run with us. I mean, we would pray to the gods above that teams would be like, hey, we're going to run with Carolina. And Ole Miss tried to do that today, and this is what happens. You cannot go bucket for bucket, toe-to-toe with Alabama. You have to defend, keep your principles, take good shots, don't let it be an up and down game, because this was a 30-point swing. Ole Miss was up 15 points. So they're a scary team, to say the least. So this Tennessee game is coming up. I'm excited about it, but I have Tennessee rolling. I don't think Alabama is going to defend them. I got Tennessee rolling. Quote me on that.
I do think game day in Tuscaloosa is gonna mean that Coleman Coliseum is absolute. Like those fans will show up for the big games. Also, I just want to say, for the record, Henson, that back in the day in the Seton Hall intramural leagues, they used to call John Fanta the Tolu Smith of Newark. All right, that was his reputation. That was his nickname there. My man's got a low post game. You don't understand. He's got the jump hooks. He's got the own numbers.
If I don't defend John Fanta, he will cook. I will get cooked. Like that's the Alabama. That's Alabama. Like we're just gonna go toe to toe. Hopefully we score more than you. If we don't, we're gonna be lose by 30. Like that's what happens.
You'll get baked like chicken thighs, man. You'll get baked like chicken thighs.
Baked like chicken thighs.
Yeah.
Hey,
right.
Trevor,
I got one take for you.
Please clip that. Thank you, Trevor. Yeah. Please hold on a minute, Rob. I'm going to do my victory lap here. Cleveland Cavaliers legend John Henson just told me that if we played 100 times one-on-one, that I would beat him once. That's the biggest compliment I've ever received in my life.
I said if I don't defend, you'll be able to beat me.
No. You can't take it back down. You can't take it back down.
You can't take it back down.
1 in 99.
Hey,
1-99, baby.
listen, we got to go back because, look, the Twitter people dissect everything we say. I'm going to do that today. I'm going to go back and watch this, see what I said, and dissect it. And then I'm going to go in your mentions and I'm going to just bother you. So.
What do you got,
I will
Rob?
say this. Cleveland sports fans are used to having 1-99 seasons, so that wouldn't be all that odd. Sorry, Fanta.
That is just disrespectful. Let's talk about college basketball. Here's the thing. I don't think Tennessee's going to blow out Alabama. And they're sure as hell not going to do it in Tuscaloosa. Alabama's going to win that game because home court advantage means everything in college basketball. I disagree with you vehemently. I know that you're – I'll go ahead. I'll face you one-on-one here.
Listen. We can make a dinner. We can do a little dinner bet. Look, man. We'll do a dinner. Do you want straight up or you want the spread? Which one do you want? Because you're straight up, then I love my chances.
I don't do any chicken thighs, okay? I want red meat. So this will be a steak. This will be a steak somewhere of your choosing here for who wins Alabama and Tennessee. Deal?
Okay. That works.
Deal. All right, let's see.
I like Wagyu. I like Wagyu, though. I like Wagyu. I like A5 Wagyu, so you're in trouble if they win. I'm telling you right now.
Okay. Here's my thing. Here's my thing. Ole Miss. You're not a tournament team. Your resume is fraudulent. Your record is now 19-9. You're 4-6 against quad one. That's not bad. I've seen worse. You don't have a single quadrant 2 win. You're 0-2. And then you've stacked together 8-0 quad 3, 7-0 quad 4. Ole Miss, right now, you're a Subway sandwich. Too much bread. Sorry, but there's just not enough meat on that sandwich. You haven't done enough. You have not done enough. Tell me I'm wrong, either of you two. I don't think Ole Miss belongs in the field of 68 right now. I really do not. If it's about who you've beaten.
They definitely don't belong. But I will say this. I'm very big on how a team looks. They look like a tournament team, but the results don't show it, and that's just what it is. But they look like a tournament team. Unfortunately, they've had some tough losses, and it's the SEC buzzsaw, man. I mean, I think Ole Miss in another conference probably makes the tournament.
I will say this. I don't think that Ole Miss is close. Like I don't even think they're like one of the next 4 out for me. Like I don't know. I know we can ask Brad this question when he comes on, but I just feel like they're not even like they're not in the conversation for me at this point. Like they have to go out and win a couple games to get in the conversation and then win a couple more to be able to be on the right side of the bubble. Like if you don't look at what they scheduled in non-conference, man, like there's nothing there. Temple, NC State, Memphis, UCF, California. Okay. Like what are we doing here? Right. And now you are, it's a not nice 6-9 in the SEC. Like they're not there. And this is what they got left. Yep. Mizzou, Georgia, and Texas. Like they're not a tournament.
Doesn't do anything for me.
Their non-conference. They had to win this.
Their non-conference strength of schedule is 241. That's just not good enough, according to Ken Pom. I do want to talk about Lamont Paris in South Carolina, Rob.
I got to take. Can I throw a take at you?
Zachary Davis with a game winner. What's your take? What's your take on the Gamecocks?
Okay. They are, I believe it's 23-5 now. Let me make sure I got that record right so I have it in front of me. 23-5. They're 11-4 in the SEC. They are a game out of first place in the SEC, and they still get a chance to get Tennessee at home. So if Tennessee loses to Alabama and South Carolina wins out, South Carolina will at minimum have a share of the SEC regular season title, right? To me, when you consider all of that, they're also 46th in the net, and 46th in Ken Pom, and they don't have a great net score. They remind me of Providence in 2022, Fanta, where they have really good guards. They're coached really, really well. They got big guys that are going to be able to do what they do. You have a bunch of old dudes that understand their roles. You have transfers that have come in and bought in, and they're winning games. They're close games. They're grinding them out, and they know how to execute in the important moments, in the clutch moments. I'm not going to throw the luck factor out there, but I do think that there's some of the same elements to the run that Providence made when they won the Big East and what South Carolina is doing right now. It just feels like very similar situations. Is that you're the Big East guy, man? Is that right? Is that fair?
I don't think it is fair because I think this Southeastern Conference tests you in every single way. And at the end of the day, I know they got blown out by Auburn, but they beat Kentucky and beat them like a drum.
Mhm.
I mean, they beat them by 17 points. Now, is Kentucky a different team today than they were on January 23rd? Yes. Yes. There's no question about that. But South Carolina went to Tennessee and beat them in Knoxville.
Mhm.
Now, that Providence team won a lot of great games. They didn't win a game like that on the road over the fourth-ranked team in the country. So I'm not going to disrespect. I mean, and I'm not saying you are disrespecting, but Henson.
Yeah. I thought it was a compliment.
Well, you call
that
them
Providence
lucky,
team was a
did you
4
not?
seed that made the Sweet 16. Like, they were good. That team was really good.
That's true, but I think the luck thing was a little bit of a slight at them, like they've gotten fortunate here. You're 23-5, John Henson. There's nothing fortunate about that.
Nothing fortunate about that. The Big East is kind of a, I talked about it a little bit, man. Like, it's kind of weird how, these teams are getting beat like they stole something, yet we're like hailing the Big East as like the top, whatever conference. So, that's just my take on it. We'll see what happens. We're going to find out. It'll shake out. But right now, I mean, as far as the top teams, the top tier, I mean, Big East is loaded at the top, and they're going to be tough out. Any of those top teams, the Marquettes or UConns. Even if those middle of the road teams get in, like St. John's, I don't want to see them either. Like Rick Pitino he's one of the best coaches ever, and I mean, he's led it's going to be leading 6 schools potentially to the tournament. Like he knows what he's doing. So don't want to see any of these Big East teams, but let's just pump the brakes a little bit. Let's put the brakes a little in the Big East.
We'll talk about that coming up. We got Brad Wachtel, our bracketologist, one of them from Fielding the 68. Who's on the bubble? Who's in? Who's out? Tons of teams to get to. Where does your team stand next?
Big news, guys. I am thrilled to announce that we have partnered with Autograph, a company founded by the GOAT himself, Tom Brady. The Autograph fandom app gives you access to the best college hoops content, fan contests, and exclusive rewards like discounted tickets, all for doing the things that diehard fans like you already do, following your favorite team in the news and listening to podcasts just like this one. When Tom, and yes, I am calling him Tom, we're on a first-name basis these days, co-founded Autograph, he had one mission in mind: change the fan experience for the better. It works like this. You get all of your college hoops content you want in one place. You get articles from your favorite writers, pods from your favorite hosts, contests from your favorite creators, all on the feeds and the sites that you already enjoy. But instead of having to go to all these different places, it all comes to you in one spot, the Autograph fandom app. But here's the best part. The more content that you consume, the higher you rank in the app. As you consider to level up in status on the app, you can unlock unique rewards curated exclusively for you. So download the free Autograph app in the App Store and use the referral code F68, that's F68, or tap in at the link in the description below or in the podcast app of your choosing to start earning points for doing something as normal as listening to this very podcast. It really is that simple.
Welcome back to the Field of 68 After Dark. It's time for Bubble Watch with Brad Wachtel, our bracketologist on the Fielding the 68 crew. Every Monday, every Friday, they've got a fresh bracket for you, the latest. Coming into their last show, okay, on their last show, they unveiled their last four in of Providence, Gonzaga, Wake Forest, and New Mexico. First four out was Villanova, who won last night over Georgetown. Doesn't really help. Texas A&M, Utah, and Butler. So, Brad, we were talking about the Big East heading into our last break. This was a big night for Butler, St. John's, Seton Hall, and Providence. Seton Hall and Providence get drubbed on the road. St. John's throttles Butler. What does this all mean? Looks like we might be having some technical difficulties.
Yeah, so this Butler Johns game, to me, this was a play out game. I think
Fanta, go ahead. Take it, Fanta.
Yeah.
Brad, we'll try. We'll see if we can get you back. We'll see if we can get him back. So here's my take. Okay, Rob. Seton Hall and Providence. For Providence tonight, they were in our last four in. I don't think that this one singular result totally knocks them on the field myself. They lost 91-69 to a Marquette team that's won 11 of their last 12 games. The only loss being to UConn. Seton Hall goes to Creighton and loses 85-64. But Seton Hall wasn't even in the last four in. In fact, they weren't even they were off the 11 line in our feeling the 68 bracket. They were up to the 10 line. Brad, I think we got you back. The Big East results tonight. What's your take on what happened this evening?
Yeah, so again, sorry about that, guys. We got a lot of wind here where I live. So St. John's and Butler, it was a play-out game for me. So Butler has now been in a downslide over these last few weeks. They're going to need to win the Big East tournament now to get into the NCAA tournament. And St. John's remains alive now. They still have a lot of work to do, though. They need wins over the field. And unfortunately for their sake, they only have two at the moment, and that's against Creighton and Providence. There are two more that are waiting in the wings for them in Villanova, who they beat twice. So for St. John's sake, they need Villanova to finish strong. And, some people might say, well, they're competing against each other for a bid. We're still far enough away where you don't need to worry about that right now. But St. John's, the committee looks at who have you beaten, teams in the field, where did you beat them? And right now, St. John's needs that. And their final two games are against DePaul and Georgetown, and that's not doing anything for them. So they still have a ways to go. They're going to need to win some games in the Big East tournament as well to really have a shot to get a bid.
Brad, what about Providence and Seton Hall? What about Providence and Seton Hall getting blown out tonight?
Not ideal. Both are still in the field. The problem with getting blown out, as you guys know, metrics are a big issue, are something that the committee focuses on. Now, the metrics that will hurt them, they're predictive metrics. So I think their seeds will take a hit, especially Seton Hall, who currently has the worst net of any at-large team. And typically, if you're a team that has the worst net of any at-large team, you're going to end up in Dayton. Now, they still have time to right the ship. They play at UConn next. We don't expect them to win that game, but it would be nice if, for their sake, if they can at least be competitive. And then down the stretch, they finish up with Villanova and DePaul. If they can win both of those games, they'll be in the NCAA tournament. If they lose to Nova and beat DePaul, they're not a lock. I still like their chances, but Dayton would be the likely scenario for them. And then in Providence's case, Providence finishes with Villanova at home, at Georgetown, and UConn. Honestly, I think they need to win two of those three games, and they will get into the NCAA tournament. But yeah, there's only a few games left, but so much can still happen.
Yeah, but Brad, I want to ask you how the committee is going to look at Providence, because I feel like there's three different kind of segments of their season, right? You have the point when you have Bryce Hopkins, and they looked like a top 25 team, and they're 11-2 and 2-0 in the Big East. Then he gets hurt in the Seton Hall game, and they proceed to lose that, and three in a row after that. Then since I kind of figured out how they're going to play without him, they've won 7 out of 11, and now they're sitting here in a situation where they're kind of right there on the bubble, and it feels like we knew who they were beforehand. Now we know who they are now. They got this 4-game losing streak in the middle as they're kind of figuring it out. How do you take all of that into I feel like how do you evaluate all of that on the whole? How does the committee going to look at that?
Yeah, so I think there's clearly a large enough sample size since Bryce Hopkins got hurt, which was late December. And Providence has been able to get some quality wins since then. They beat Creighton, St. John's, who's a bubble team. But another key part, they have not picked up any key losses. So they're one of the bubble teams and one of the just few bubble teams that don't have any bad losses. And I think that's an extremely positive aspect of their resume. They still have a top 40 strength of record, which is pretty strong for a bubble team. Just like St. John's, their predictive metrics aren't great, which kind of puts them towards Dayton at the moment. But like you said, I think they're judged over the course of the last couple months. And now that being said, their wins with Bryce Hopkins, it's not like their wins over Wisconsin and Marquette don't count at all. They still count. I think the committee just wants to see that this team can be competitive enough. There have been a couple games where they've been blown out, not ideal, but I think they've shown enough where they are still a quality team that should be in the field.
Brad, so switching over, we're going to go ACC now. What do we make of Wake Forest and the ACC in general as far as, at large bids and who's on the bubble and who needs to, who has work to do?
Yeah, so Wake Forest was my last team in the field prior to their loss at Notre Dame. Now, losing at Notre Dame's been playing better of late. It's just a quad 2 loss. So I know people making it out to be a huge deal. I'm not going to say it's obviously not a good loss. But the problem for Wake Forest is their record away from home. That's where the issue lies. They're now 3-10 away from home, which is the worst record of any at-large team, any bubble team that's trying to get an at-large bid. So for me, Wake Forest is now in my first 4 out category as my first team out of the field, and they have work to do. They're just 2-4 against Q1 and 6-10 against Q1 and 2. Their predictive metrics are strong, but that has no say in whether or not you get into the field. It's all about your results. And their strength of record right now is 52, which isn't particularly great. As far as other teams in the ACC, right now, Virginia for me is in my last 4 in. I believe they just won at Boston College tonight, so they're gonna hold ground. They've been an interesting team because when they lose bad, and when they win, it's typically tight games. But they are not a lock by any means. And then other teams that are rounding out the ACC, Pittsburgh was a team that really had a chance to get close to the field, possibly even break into the field, or at least reach the first 4 out had they won at Clemson. So that was a significant missed opportunity, even though they do have solid wins on the road at Duke and at Virginia, which is why they are still somewhat relevant. And then if you go down the ACC a little bit further, a lot of people want to know about Syracuse. What are their chances? Syracuse they still got work to do. They still finish up at Louisville, at Clemson, got to win both games. And then I think you got to win 2 more in the ACC tournament to pick up some more wins against the field. Because right now they're just not quite there yet.
Brad, Gonzaga has 1 quadrant 1 win. They're 1-5 against quadrant 1. 18 of their 21 wins have come in Q3 and Q4. Why are they currently in our last 4 in?
Yeah, so there's 2 reasons. Number 1 is their non-conference strength of schedule, which is currently top 25. How often do we see the committee say on Selection Sunday, well, this team had a strong non-conference strength of schedule? Now, obviously, that's not the only thing they have. To go with that, they don't have any bad losses, and most importantly, they won at Kentucky. So Kentucky has been playing strong lately, and Kentucky owns wins against North Carolina. They won at Auburn. They beat Alabama. They won at Mississippi State. They won at Florida. Those are some strong, strong wins. And right now, Kentucky is a projected 4 seed. Had Kentucky fallen off a little bit, and if they kind of drop down to like a 7 or an 8 seed, somewhere in that vicinity, I think Gonzaga would really need to beat St. Mary's on the road coming up. They still might need to beat them, but the way their seed goes is the way Kentucky plays. The better Kentucky plays down the stretch, the better of a chance Gonzaga has to get into the field. And even though that's their only significant win of the season, it's a major victory.
How bad was the loss for New Mexico on Saturday at home to Air Force?
Yeah, so New Mexico, it seemed like they were fairly safe in the field and had them as a 9 seed. And losing that game, they actually dropped into my last 4 in. It's a big deal because it's a quadrant 4 loss. Their strength of record dropped from 46 to 59. And I know this is just a small sample, but for people that don't know much about strength of record and who gets in with what strength of records. Last year, the worst strength of record to get an at-large bid into the field was Pittsburgh. And they were, I believe, they were 54. So not a great number to be at, 59. So now they have 2 bad losses and a Q4 loss. They're under 500 against quadrant 1 opponents, 5-5 against Q1 and 2. I still have them in the field. They still have a top 30 net. I think their biggest win of the season is probably going to end up being at Nevada, who is currently playing extremely well. And for New Mexico's sake, all of their key wins were coming at home. They needed a win away from home to really put their stamp on it. And that win at Nevada is keeping them in the field right now.
So they got at Boise State, Fresno State, and at Utah State left. Do they have to win 2 of those, you think? You can't lose the home game to Fresno State. You got to pick off one of Boise or Utah to feel good?
To feel good, yes. They do that, they'll be in.
Brad, we have 15 seconds here. Michigan State, they're 17-11, 9-8 in their league. We know that there's many more things that matter. No bad losses. Any part of you that says they're in danger of missing the NCAA tournament?
So they're not a lock. They finished the season with at Purdue, Northwestern, and at Indiana. In an ideal situation, you win 2 out of 3, they'll be in the field. If they lose out, absolutely, they're out of the field.
There it is. Spartans have some work to do. I agree with you. Read him at Brad_Wachtel, WACHTEL. I know he's going to talk some Seton Hall fans off the ledge in the morning. Brad, thanks as always.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, appreciate it.
Appreciate you being here, Brad.
Fielding the 68 is the best bracket show that you can find every Monday and Friday. I already can't wait for the Friday evening. I can't wait. Coming up, we'll go in the Big Ten. We'll hit on the rest of college basketball as well. This is After Dark.
What's going on, guys? Before we get back to the show, I need to let you all know about the Field of 68 Daily, an all-encompassing college basketball newsletter that arrives in your inbox, you guessed it, daily. For less than $1 a week, you'll wake up every morning to more than 1,500 words detailing everything that you need to know to stay up to date on the world of college basketball. From the notable mid-major upsets to the stars that are out injured to the breakout performances that only our team of college basketball junkies watched. The Daily is edited and produced by Mike Miller, who spent more than 2 decades running NBC's digital written content, and is subscribed by more than half of the Division I coaching staffs, the biggest names in college basketball media, and the agents that work as power brokers in the sport. For just $50 for the year, you get access to the same information that the insiders get. And before we get you back to your regularly scheduled Field of 68 content, let me tell you guys about the Field of 68 merch store. Head over to field68.shop for officially branded Field of 68 apparel. Whether you're supporting your favorite team in the student section or from the couch, there is no better way to gear up than the latest from the Field of 68. The best thing I can say about our merch is the quality of the product. Anyone that has ever worn a t-shirt knows how frustrating it is when the neck gets all stretched out and the bottom of the shirt starts looking like the bottom of bell-bottom jeans. And there's nothing worse than a hoodie that loses its snugness that makes it such a perfect way to stay warm during the cold winter weather. Whether you're shopping for yourself or for the college basketball fan in your life, everything you need is at the field68.shop.
It's the Field of 68 After Dark on this Wednesday night, February the 28th. John Fanta, Rob Dauster, John Henson with you. Duke rolls tonight 84-59 over Louisville. Blue Devils get back on track. They've won 16 of their last 19 games. But John Henson, I want to get your take, okay? Have not heard your updated thoughts on the return tonight of Kyle Filipowski from an ankle injury suffered after a court-storming incident in Winston-Salem on Saturday that sent the sports world into a frenzy. Number one, should court stormings be banned? Number two, what did you make of the Filipowski drama?
On the court storming thing, it's part of college basketball. I think it's something that needs to stay. I think it makes the game fun. I do, however, believe there should be something where, it could get awkward, but they have ways to communicate with students and fans via phones or even on their tickets. Say, hey, look, when you want to storm the court, if we're storming the court, please wait for the other team to remove themselves. I don't think that's that big of an ass. It'll take 10 seconds. And
put the shot clock on.
But I think,
here's what you do. You start as soon as the buzzer goes off, you start the shot clock, you let all the players get out, you get the white rope in front of the guys shaking hands, and then the shot clock counts down, and it's 3, 2, boom. Everyone on the floor.
Exactly. I think that's the best way to do it. You can't take it's a cultural thing, man. Like I love to see that helps the game. So I don't think you should ban it. In reference to Filipowski, it's good to see he's healthy. He's back, because if that was an injury that was a little more serious, we'd really have to sit down and talk about what we need to do with this. So glad he's back. They got to play a team that he could kind of not maybe be 100% and get out there and test it out. So happy for that. But, thank God we got Filipowski back, right, Rob? Thank God he's back
Henson, are you impressed with his toughness? Like, we question this team. I am whether or not they had dogs.
I am so
we question their
impressed
heart.
It was the epitome of brotherhood when everyone ran after Filipowski like he was in a war zone, and cradled him and hugged him when he was, limping off the court. I mean, that was the epitome of the Duke brotherhood. I am just so envious of what those guys have over there at Duke. I mean, I can't even put it into words. So, but yeah, it's good to have him back. And Duke looks good. It looks like it's going to be another ACC season where North Carolina is going to have to beat Duke at their place to take home the crown. So that's what we're used to, and that's what I'm ready for it, and they'll be ready too.
That's going to be a hell of a scene. That is going to be a hell of a scene in Durham. I can't wait for it. Hey, let's go to the Big Ten. Final score tonight, Illinois 105. Minnesota, improved Minnesota 97. Terrence Shannon goes for 29 points. Illini are 21-7. 3 for the Illini go for 20+. Rob Dauster was the highest scoring Big Ten game this year. Your reaction to the Illini, and with the calendar about to turn to March, what's Rob Dauster's honest expectation level for Illinois in the month of March?
Well, my expectation level for Illinois is that I should not expect anything out of them, because I don't know. Yeah, like, you just never know what team is going to show up. They gave up 70% shooting from the 3-point line against Minnesota. Like, it looked like they were allergic to playing defense. And I think that, for me, part of what the appeal of this Illinois team is, if you look at them defensively, like, they got their starting lineup. When you roll through Quincy Guerrier, Coleman Hawkins, Marcus Domask, Ty Rodgers, and Terrence Shannon, it's like you basically got 5 dudes that are all between 6'4" and 6'9", where the point guard, Ty Rodgers, is like a 6'4" junkyard dog that is super switchable, and Coleman Hawkins is super switchable, and Quincy Guerrier is like your quintessential kind of combo forward that should be super switchable, and Terrence Shannon is 6'6" and super athletic, and he's super switchable, and they have the makings of a team that should be great defensively, and there are times that they are. And then you see things like tonight where they give up 97 points to a Minnesota team that is, albeit improved, and is fantastic against the spread. They covered again tonight. That you shouldn't be giving up 97 points and 14 threes to this Minnesota team. So I love what the ceiling is of this Illinois team, right? When they are at their best, they are electric. They get out in transition. They play that booty ball. It's Marcus Domask can get you 30. Terrence Shannon can get you 30. We saw Coleman Hawkins go over 30 the other night, right? So there are a lot of weapons on this roster. I don't know how much I trust them, right? And I feel like this is the kind of team that will end up in like that 4 seed range, will win a game in the first round, and they can kind of get picked off in the second round. I think they have the talent to make it to like an Elite 8. That's what I think their ceiling is this year, maybe a Final Four. But it feels like we see a different Illinois team every time that they take the court. And a lot of times it's good because they're versatile and they can show you different things. But in terms of what I expect, I have no idea what to expect on any given night when Illinois takes the floor.
That's how they've been. They're a high variable team. For the last couple of years, Rob, we watched them in the Garden last year. We were like, oh my God, this is a national championship team, right? Like that's how good they looked. So, yeah, they just have too high of a variability. We don't know what are they going to defend today? Are they going to score? Is Coleman Hawkins going to look like a pro, or is he just going to kind of meddle around and just be regular out there, even though he has the size and talent to be that guy? And when you talk about the seeding, the 4 seed, 5 seed, there's a 4-13, 5-12 upset every year. And Illinois could be that team that make it go home early because they just want to turn it on, or they think they can turn it on when they can. So, it's going to be interesting to see. Now, on the other end of that, if they do heat up and start playing well over this next few, they can make a run, and they can compete talent-wise with any team in this country. So, like Rob said, I don't trust them, but it'll be fun to see their first game. I'm going to be tuned in for their first game just to see what team is going to come to play in their first game in the first weekend.
I think Illinois and Kentucky are the two teams that I kind of circled and say I want to watch them every time that they play, right? Because you kind of never really know what's going to happen. They could be down by 20 and can still find a way to come back because they have that kind of offensive firepower. They have a bunch of guys that can go in there and get buckets. And, Fanta, I'll tell you this. If you end up on a night where Marcus Domask, Terrence Shannon, and Coleman Hawkins are all playing their best, like, good luck, man. good luck dealing with that. Fanta is muted. Fanta is talking here, and he's muted. and he's back. Browns? Fanta is muted.
Well, all right. Looks like Fanta.
Okay, go ahead, Henson. Take over the show.
Guys. This Illinois team has the potential to win a national championship. I'm just going to put it on the table right here, right now. This team with Coleman Hawkins, Marcus Domask, and Terrence Shannon has the potential to win a national championship. And that's all I'm going to say. I'm going to leave it right there. Rob, I'm going to leave it to you. What else you got on these guys? Do you think that they have a chance to make a Final Four?
Yes, I do think they have a chance to make a Final Four. And if I'm going to do my Fanta impression, guys, I grew up in Cleveland. I grew up a fan of the Cleveland Cavaliers. I love my Brownies. Henson, let's get into toast of the night. I am John Fanta. Let's get out of here really quick. Henson, who is your toast of the night here? As we end
I'm toasting to a player who really got that dog in him. Dalton Knecht putting Tennessee on his back today, literally on his back. I haven't seen a performance where somebody carried a team like that in a long, long time. So shout out to Dalton Knecht. He's going to make a lot of money very soon, but right now he's got to focus on that championship.
All right, my toast of the night is going to go out to Alan Huss, the head coach at High Point University. His first year at High Point, they were picked 7th in the Big South, and they were the Big South regular season champions. Fanta, are you back?
Do you guys hear me? You got me.
Back, baby.
I'm gonna
come back in the season.
Yeah, that's right. We're back. We're back. I'm gonna toast St. John's for keeping their season alive. But I was just gonna say this, Illini fans, you're gonna go 2-1 down the stretch. But one of those 2 wins, you're gonna beat Purdue next week. Last